Welcome to paragraph 5.2 about the consequences for the areas of origin, all about migration, where we started the last week. In this paragraph, I would like to look with you at the following objectives. What are the demographic implications of migration? What are the economic implications of migration? What are the cons of migration, and what is the relation between migration, development, and return migration? And first, I would like to look at the demographic implications of migration. Well, in what way does the area of origin change regarding the size and composition of the inhabitants? Well, of course, young educated people tend to migrate while the elders stay behind, and this results in an unequal age structure. So where do the young educated people want to move to? Well, of course, to countries in which they can become rich or they can find a job in. And you can see that in the population pyramid on the right. This shows you the age structure of the United Arab Emirates, and you can see that there are a lot more men than women, and that is all because of the fact that this country is pretty rich. They do have oil, and they have a big industrial sector. So all the people from abroad want to migrate to this country to work in this sector and, of course, gain money there and send that money back to their home country. But, of course, these people moved from their home country to the United Arab Emirates, so that means that a big part of the men between, 24 and 40 migrated from their home country, so they are gone there. So that could show an opposite graph in their home country because of the fact that these people are gone. They're not there anymore, so they are not working anymore in their home country. And of course, this does have economic implications for their home country. Because knowledge is money, and when people migrate from their home country and take their knowledge with them, this could have implications for the people who can't or don't want to migrate. And you can ask yourself the question why. This is actually a so-called brain drain. The people with the knowledge are gone, and the people who are staying behind don't have that knowledge, nor the possibilities to develop themselves. And you can see the differences. The pictures show you South Africa, and on the left you can see a group of South Africans that become pretty rich. They're calling themselves the Black Diamonds, and they are really rich. You can see on this picture they're driving a Rolls-Royce, which is of course a very expensive car, and on the right you see the people who are actually staying behind and living in, well, you can see that the poorest areas of, for example, Cape Town. There is a big difference between the rich and the poor, and this will get on because of the fact that the knowledge have actually migrated out of the country. And of course this has implications for the economic structure in a country. The people that migrated often send remittances, which are geldzendingen, to their family in their home country. Why should they do that? Well, of course, they do that because of the fact that the people at home can use that money to become more independent from the state or more independent from their agricultural production, and that helps them to become richer. And of course, at that point in time, they at home can invest in small companies, in agriculture, modernize their production, they can invest in healthcare and in new homes, and that means that the remittances could give the stay-at-homes an opportunity to develop themselves as well. So in that case, the differences between the poorer and the richer become, well, less clear. They all can become richer. And if you look at the graph, you can see the remittance inflows in COMESA countries, which are certain countries in Africa, and you see that, for example, Egypt has an enormous amount of remittances from abroad. So you could wonder, why is that happening? Well, of course, Egypt hasn't got that big economy and had problems with their economy before. So it seems that many people from Egypt moved from Egypt to a country abroad, got a pretty good income there, and sent back that money, not all the money, but a big part of it, to their family in Egypt. And you see that millions of dollars came back from those people who moved abroad. And they can invest it. On the right you see a picture from another country, which is, I thought it was Uganda, but I'm not sure. They were able to build better homes. You think, well, these homes are pretty poor, but if you look at the people, they can buy clothes, they do have a very new pan outside, they do have watertight homes, so they can live better than before. But of course, the remittances do have cons as well. Segregation coup de cœur, a group of people who will become richer and have the ability to develop, and others can't. And of course, the people who can't don't have family which send those remittances to them. Because of the migration, people with enough knowledge about development move away, so there might be not enough knowledge for the stay-at-homes at first. Local production will decrease, people are able to buy their food at a shop instead, and they're not producing it themselves anymore, so that knowledge could become lost as well. Of course, there are social and cultural implications of labour migration as well. So what social and cultural implication could labour migration have for the home country? Well, luck and prestige is related to migration. If you won't migrate, you never will become rich. So people develop new ideas, and those ideas might speed up the modernization process. The richer people will do that. And again, you see on this picture the Black Diamond Group of South Africa. This means that there will come changes in social structures because migrants could become more important. The brain drain happens, we were talking about that before. The higher skilled people leave the country and the lower skilled people stay behind. But something else could happen as well, and that's called brain gain. Because when people come back to their home country, they can transfer their knowledge to the stay-at-homes. So it means that they can become more skilled or smarter as well. But there are reasons for this, and there's a possibility to show you this, and this graph is in the book as well. In this graph, it's all about migration, development, and return migration. So how can you get an indication whether people tend to migrate or not? This is all about aspirations. What do you want to achieve? And what are the possibilities for me as a migrant? I will zoom in on this graph. First of all, on the left, you can see that there's no migration at all, because there are no possibilities and capabilities. This happens a lot in countries where there's no prosperity at all. At a certain point in time, people want to migrate, but they can't. They don't have enough money to leave their home country and move to another one. But they do have the aspiration, but they can't. They are not able to. Then the prosperity increases, and that means that people get the money to migrate, and that means a migration peak exists. People want to migrate and can. That means that a lot of people leave their home country, move to another one, and start living there. This is the point in time where the remittances are being sent to their home country. Later on, the prosperity in the home country increases as well, and that means that people do not want to migrate anymore because the quality of living in their home country is good enough. So people no longer want to, but are able to if they should want. And that means that the migration decreases and return migration starts to emit. That means return migration. People migrate back from the country they migrated to their home country because they can get enough money in their home country at this point in time, and they gained the money and they gained the knowledge that they need to be able to work and live in their home country as well. Okay, I hope this shows you an idea, it gives you an idea about the way that migration has implications on the home country, and what the relation is between migration and development, and of course later on the return migration of groups of people. And there are a lot of things happening there, and especially in Africa, this is very important. You see the same thing happening in Mexico. There's a reason why people want to move, of course, to the United States, and if they do so, they are leaving their home country, Mexico, are going working in the United States, send back their money to the stay-at-homes in Mexico, and the result is that Mexico becomes richer. At a certain point in time, people move back to Mexico, and, well, I think that in the future, a lot of Mexicans who are living in the United States want to get back to their home country, and that means that the migration problem, which of course is there in the United States, will become of less importance.